Sawtooth Dave. What's happening, guys? Another week down. Hope y'all had a good week. So, I was asked earlier this week if I'm still doing regrinds. Yeah, definitely. I didn't. I asked one person to hold off, and nobody else is really wanting to send more stuff in, so it's kind of slowing down on that regard, which is fine because I'm trying to concentrate on getting the machines up and running. An update for that, the DRO is working on the manual mill. I still haven't built the table for it. I'm not really sure why I'm going to do that. I got a 5-gallon bucket, and I just threw like a pad on top of it. Sitting down machine is actually nice, especially when you're 50 something, right? So like it's kind of nice sitting down a machine. So I might leave that one like lower to the ground rather than standing it up. But due to the help of Mike Cornbread, better known as Hunting for Hookers on YouTube, I got some stuff figured out on the CNC mill. It's officially power coming on now, but it won't zero on X and Y, which is another issue. I haven't really climbed in on that yet, and like how I used his help is basically like I suspected a problem, and I just needed somebody with expertise to go, yeah, you're on the right track, go ahead and try that. And that's basically what I used him for. And that's kind of what I want to approach on this, because I think the more you learn as you go, like I have a better grasp of what's going on in electronics in the back of that machine now, where when I bought that, I don't know, 10 months ago, I had zero clue what was going on in the back of that machine. So I didn't know what a step up, step down transformer, a DC power source. I didn't know what any of that crap was, but I got it all kind of figured out now. So the gist of it was that came out of a school, and I think the school just didn't want that machine in there, or they never used it, or whatever the case may be. So people unhooked connections, but they were smart enough to do it where the way they reconnected it, it wasn't going to hurt the machine. They pulled some tabs out, changed some over. So like if you weren't experienced like myself and you just went over there and turned the machine on, it didn't hurt anything on the machine. I can't see anywhere it would damage anything. But they were super smart in how they did it. So, props to them, sabotage it the right way, I guess. So, hey, we're one step closer, put it that way. I think once I get the X and the Y, which is basically the table like I was showing you last week on the mill, how it moves forward and backwards and left and right. Basically, once that finds itself, once it knows where it is position-wise, I think it'll run at that point. But it's all baby steps. We got it to here now. So when the power's on, everything seems to be functioning other than that zero. Like I can't turn anything on because it won't clear the alarm. But if you've been around machines long enough, you know that's pretty much the next step. Okay, backing off of that. Talking about, yeah, let's talk about, so I got Shane's knife. Where's it, Shane's knife? And Shane, I heard you're in the hospital, bro. I hope you're all right. I didn't know nothing about it, but I already regrind this, is it a TR4 or something like that, I think? ProTech. I'd already regrind that a while back, but we're going to put it on washers. And I was going to do this as my first project on that mill. Then I got to thinking about it. I was like, man, why would I experiment with somebody else's knife on the first project? Like, I know I'm going to make mistakes, and I know I'm going to find out stuff about that manual mill that either I can't do it the way I thought it would or whatever. So I just decided to do my project first. So I'll show it to you, and then I'll kind of turn around and do a close-up, then I can explain more. But a while back, Carco Chris had sent this. He called it an Excalibur, but it was that huge Fears for Prey. So here's a normal size Fears for Prey Crusader. When I say normal size, I mean normal length. This is normal length. And if you know the other ones, that I think they're Fears for Prey XLs or Fighters or something like that. But anyway, I told him at the time I wanted to chop it down. And I did this regrind a while back, but I changed it again, and I chopped the frame down. And changed the blade shape even from what I had it originally. I had it originally as kind of a Tonto, but it was kind of more of a blunt nose Tonto, and it didn't work out right. So it's still a little bit off from blade to handle. It's longer than what I expected it to be, and I'll explain this here in a second. But I'm gonna give it more of a close-up on it, I guess. But it's still beat up pretty good, and all of it's rough. It's nothing's finished yet. But you can see I made a copper backspacer for it. And what I did by accident was, wasn't by accident, it's the first time I really did it, but I sanded everything down, and then I went back and did the chamfers on the inside of it. So now you see the gaps here and here and here and here where I took more off the corner of this titanium after I did it. So I need to go back and just kind of skim that all and make it all the same, and just basically take a sander and sand the edges instead of trying to do it with the 2x72. But this hardware, if you see right here, and it's kind of like the same thing as what's on the Sawtooth basically, but this is XM hardware, and I just had it laying around, so I was like, I'm just going to try it. So basically what the process is on this was I had to find the hole where I wanted to put it and then drill it. And then at first I tried to plunge an end mill, but the end mill cut way oversized. So one of these is actually looser than what I want, and one's perfect how I want it. So what I did next time was drill it undersized, reamed it to the right hole, and then did the counterbore also with the reamer, because I tried to plunge an end mill and do that, and it didn't work for that one either, to hold the tolerances I wanted to. But on the screws are actually like a 267, which is not really an end mill size. It wasn't a counterbore I had, so I just basically drilled them out for these screws. But you can see that I ended up changing the screws here. This pocket clip was back, so I ended up moving it forward, drilling it, retapping it, 632 holes right there. So moved everything forward, the clip forward, these, and I had originally, you see how much space is in here. Let's see if I can turn it. See how much space is in there? When I originally did it, the blade was actually touching the backspacer, and that's why I cut that little groove in that backspacer. So all this is kind of learning stuff for me. I was playing, learning, not really knowing what I was doing. Everything was kind of raw. The blade was raw. This is still pretty much raw, but I was just playing around doing it. Learning how to use the machine, and also learning how to hold the tolerances I want to with that manual mill, with the tool and I have. Like, everything's relation to what you have to work with, right? It's no different than any other project. So I ended up reversing. So, you know, on a normal Crusader, what I do with that other one? Yeah, it's a normal Crusader. The hardware looks like this on this side, on the front side, and on the back side, it's more of the plain style for the pivot, at least. On the standard Crusader, you can see it's just a drilled and tapped round bar, and it kind of comes in from both sides. So I thought this hardware like this is similar to what it does on the Sawtooth and on the XMs, where if you hold the size right, it'll come in from this side, you know, held tight, and basically go into the other side, so it holds it as a pin, so there's no rotation. This can't twist from side to side. It's because it's pinned, right? It's a screw hole and pinned at the same time. So that's why I always typically like that style of hardware, both on the Sawtooth and the XMs. And I think it looks good, all screws on the same side, you know, plain hardware on this side. I think that part of it came out right. The biggest thing on this is you can see how far back the flipper tab is, right? So no matter what you do, you're not going to have much blade compared to handle ratio, if that makes sense. I told you I was going to do a close-up. I don't know if I am. I think I'm just going to do it this way. I hope y'all are down with this. But I've changed the blade quite a few times. Like I said, it was a Tonto to start for, then I just kind of did a big belly, much more stout at the tip. You can't really put it in video, but it's good and thick at the tip, and then comes down to a more slicey edge. It's the progressive, like I've been doing on a lot of the other regrinds. I kind of like this whole progressive style. But you don't have much blade for as big as a knife it is, right? Like, so I'm gonna break out the other Crusader, which is not really a good, because this blade to handle ratio is off too, but compared to a normal knife. But you can see it doesn't have nearly as much that this one does, but overall size knife, pretty similar as far as length goes. This regular Fear's Prey is thicker. Hopefully that comes off in video. You see how this one's thicker than this one, but also profile wise, this is actually thicker, and this is thinner now this way. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So, excuse me. A lot of what I do, especially with figuring out these bruisers and cutting things down and making stuff work, is to try to make the knife feel like I think it should feel. So when I first got this knife, it didn't have any detent at all. So I don't know if I already went over that or not, but let's see if I can get in here and show you. Can we see up in that? Probably not. Up in here, it wasn't there. No, sorry, back in here. When it hits the stop pin on the closed position, you can see now how it's, there we go. See if we can get up in there. There you go. See how it's shiny up in there? So basically I had to keep filing it up in there until the stop pin was seated far enough in there. Stop pin's on the back side. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. There you go. You see the stop pin now. So the blade would go further in, so the detent would actually sit in the right hole. You see it feels good now, but now the feel of this thing is phenomenal. Like, reverse flick on point, and you can see, like, these Fears for Praise, you don't have a full, let me turn around. Yeah, you can see it right there. You don't have a full hole, but you just got enough to get your finger just barely in there. But man, the feel is good. I love the feel of this thing, man. So that's the biggest thing that sorry, I missed that thumb right there. The biggest thing I was going for with this one is to try to get the feel of that bruiser back the way it should be. When it was the full 5-inch or whatever hell blade it was, shape, it just felt goofy to me. It didn't feel right, even with the detent fixed, it didn't work right for me. So like for me, there's a certain blade length where after a certain blade length, it just doesn't work for me personally. Like, everybody's different in that regard. Like, I'm not trying to say you shouldn't get a certain blade length, because obviously everybody's happy with whatever they're happy with. And I'm not here to change anybody's mind. We're here to have fun and I'm just sharing my feelings, what I'm going through. So anyway, not done yet, but very happy with the chop. Very happy with how all that ended up turning out. Like I said, I missed one hole, learned from that one. I also made the back spacer and then reshaped the blade, which made me have a bigger gap. So in hindsight, you know, I should have profiled the whole knife blade how I wanted to, and then made the back spacer and laid out everything. But you know, we all had, it was fun. It was a fun project anyhow. So it's not done, but it was fun. So I got a lot more stuff basically in the works, but you know, to learn the mill, and then hopefully we'll do Shane's knife next. I'm gonna try to do this in step by step. Also, I told you guys, or asked you guys if you wanted a grind video. I think quite a few people asked for it. I just don't have anybody's knife, a good example of someone's knife to do a regrind on. I might do a regrind on my Marauder Tonto, which I'm probably going to. This is the full-size Marauder. But this is not the greatest example of what I do as far as regrinding, because most of my regrinds are hollow grinds, and most of them are flat grind to start with, going into hollow grind. So you kind of approach it slightly different. So I kind of want to do that whole thing in one, a good video, a knife that makes sense to do a good video on, if that makes sense. But I will do a video for those that have asked about it. All right, so we've already talked about the milling stuff. I haven't really got anything done with grinder attachments. I have 2 grinder attachments, 3 grinder attachments. I need to get some more tubing. I need to do, I got a table to make. My coolness needs to be updated. So I got a lot of stuff to still do with the grinder that I just haven't had time to do. But we're getting there. I know I'm rambling. So I think that I've mentioned quite a few times before, like, you know, we all have certain people that we're like, are closer to is our taste, right? So my bro Jose and I think for the most part are really close to what we like as far as knives. Like everything he gets, I'll really dig, and he seems to dig most of the stuff I get. But anyway, he had got this one a while back. Oh, Dominion. Is it Diva? Divia, something like that. I can't remember how they say it. But like I was saying before a minute ago, I seen one very similar to this at Blade Show. I don't remember if they're all 1/4" stock. This is 1/4" stock. But I was on a huge Damascus kick for a while, and I know I'm pretty sure Jose's still on the Damascus kick. And definitely the 1/4" likes the extra thicker stuff. I saw one of these at Blade Show too. This action is better. It's controlled. It's a little more controlled. But it's pretty much thumb flick only, because you can't really get to this backside to get that hole unless your fingers are super skinny and get in there. I can't personally get in there to get it, and I think that's the main reason why I didn't get this one, is it was thumb actuated only. And that kind of seems silly, but you know, especially at the Blade Show, and you get so many knives you're looking at, man, little small things make a big difference of what you desire, because you got to make your decision pretty quick and move on. But I did have an opportunity to get something similar to this one. But similar to what I was saying with that Fears for Prey Excalibur, more or less, and I'm going to break it out for size comparison, I guess. When you get a knife this long, for me, and you can see how much, it's not a ton shorter, but you can see it's shorter, basically. But when you get a knife this long, for me personally, is when it doesn't make sense for me personally. I guess I like that 4-inch size-ish. The handle can be slightly bigger. The nice blade is about what I want. This gets to a little point where, like, I'm so far away from that tip. I can't stretch up and get to that tip, but I'm so far away from that tip that I start losing a little bit of my ability to use the knife as good as I say, an inch smaller knife or something like that. So if he made this in like a 4-inch, I'd probably be more interested in it. And especially if he did it where he kept the thickness here and just blunted it off more back here, I would be way more interested in the 4-inch version of this one. But also too, like the access to the hole is one of those things that pretty much kept me away from that. And if he did something like the Crusader, where he kind of stepped it up, I don't know if you could tell on this, but it's kind of milled up, over and down, so you can access this hole a little bit. See how it goes up into the lock bar? Let me see if my other one does it too. This one does a little bit too, so you can see it kind of stepped to allow more access to that hole. If he did that on this, I would probably already own one, and that's probably the only reason I don't own one. But brother Jose was cool enough to lend me this. He sent this with another knife that I'm about to show you in a second here. But we had talked about it in the past. Where's it at? It's over there. And last year at Blade Show, I'd got this Zilla. I did change the studs on it. I made the studs like a little more color coded. I can't remember what the stud, I think he had a brown stud or a gold stud on it or something when I got it. So I did this heat, and you see how this one's a little more golder than that one is. That one came out more what I was looking for. But also a 1/4 inch blade stock. This is one I love, but I'm not in love with it, if that makes sense. Like, I never fully connected with this one. I dig it for what it is. It's definitely a huge bruiser, badass of a knife. I just never, when I used it, I never really like 100% connected with it. And I knew Jose wanted it, so we worked out a deal with it. And this is now his Zilla. So this one's going to live with Jose pretty soon. Which, by the way, Jose, I don't think I have. Have I sent this RSK to you? If I haven't, I'm going to send it along anyhow, let you check it out. Definitely worth something worth checking out. I know you're into the Damascus too. I don't think I have lent you this one yet. Let me know, man. I can't remember that stuff, y'all. My memory's so bad. Okay, but the one that started all this lending back and forth, and I can't get, you know, like you guys who get knives, a lot of other people see them first. Like I hear it from Dirk Warren all the time on his channel. Like I think Gary always sends his knives to Dirk before he gets them, and a lot of other people do too. And I'm like, man, y'all got some serious patience, dude, because I don't think I can do this. But Jose got this one, and when he showed me the video of it, like I can tell it's pretty much right in that honeymoon phase. Like he was playing with it so much in the video, he had to apologize. Like, sorry, I was flipping it so much. But I don't know how you could take a knife that you love that much that you just got and then send it to somebody else. But I'm super appreciative that you did. And I know I'm going to misname this one. I don't even know if I can read this. I can't even read it, sorry. I'm going to show you the card. How about that? So I don't have to butcher what it is. But the maker is, I'm going to say Aperian. Hopefully y'all can read that. And then here's the card for it. I'm going to get up close so y'all can read it. The model, all that stuff. Not sure what that is because it's written well. I just don't have my glasses on, and it needs to be like 3 or 4 times that size for me to actually see it with my naked eye. So this is one that I had zero idea. Like I've only seen videos from the maker and stuff like this, and different models, and I don't know which one is what. So I was really curious about this one, but this is what that one is, and really cool Damascus. But like feeling of it, it feels like he didn't take it to a polish before he etched it, or he etched it hard, because you could feel the Damascus on this one. Where like, you know, let's just take this RSK that I was just talking about a minute ago. Like this knife, you can feel a little bit of it, but not like that, not like this one. It's kind of hard to put into words. But it's almost like it got etched a little too hard, or maybe with the wrong, you know, type of acid. Like I know there's certain acids that bring out the tones of it, but also keep it kind of like mild where you can't really feel the Damascus on it. This one you can definitely feel. So that's one observation, right? Very much the plain Jane on the tie, but the tie is nice and thick. So look how thick that is. It looks good. I love that. And I love plain tie. I love just the way he did that. Like you can tell he did it by hand, but very well done on the chamfers. Very much even from side to side. I like how he did it. Just really cool. See that lock bar relief, how he just plunged the end mill straight in to get that lock bar relief. I just like how he did everything with the lock bar relief on the inside instead of the outside. Also the Damascus clip on this one. So this one does have a lot of style that I like as far as like the materials and how he did it. But you can see the angle of the blade versus the handle, that kind of angle like that. So if you're familiar with Sniper Works, I'm more familiar with the older Sniper Blade Works than the newer ones, but like the DMF and the LPC, this is more like the DMF where it's like a weird angle. So like if you're not used to this angle of a knife, it just feels weird. So for me personally, when I hold this knife, I feel good like with 3 fingers. You can see I got 3 fingers right here, but that pinky never really does. Like if I go in tight like this, it kind of jams me up. If I go back here, does it feel right? It just feels like a good 3-finger knife with that pinky off. So like the way you call it, wine drinker pinky or something, whatever that is. But the action on it's really good. I dig the action on it. So overall, I'm impressed with the overall knife. As far as the build and the action go, it is a little off center. You can tell it's a handmade knife, but this is a very addicting flipper action. It just really is. Like it's got good flipper action, but no other way to deploy it. So flipper only. So for me personally, I'd probably throw some studs or blade groove or something in it, because you got plenty of room, both sides, to do whatever you want pretty much. I probably would do something else to it personally, but it doesn't need it. It's good the way it is. this model in general is probably not the one for me, but I definitely like the size, like the thickness. Overall size is pretty good size too. But what a cool ass knife to check out. And like I said, I still can't believe, sorry about the dogs out in the porch playing. I still can't believe that Jose got this and basically turned around and sent it to me right away. Like, he told me to stick it in my pocket and use it. He wants me to cut with it and stuff. Like, man, I just can't, dude. I tried. I really wanted to, but like, I just can't. It's somebody else's knife and it's brand new. Like, I'm just not. It's just not. It's not in me, man. If it was mine, I'd probably beat the shit out of it. But it's not. It's not mine. So I can't do that. Even if the dude told me to do it, I've done the same way with other people, and it's just like, I know how much this knife costs, man. Like, I'm not just gonna go beat the crap out of it. Like, if it was mine, I probably would, but it like I said, it's not mine. Not the sharpest. It didn't come the sharpest. It's not bad, but it's not the sharpest. But overall, like, I dig the build quality of it. And another cool maker to check out. So this is German. That is German made. If it didn't read it on the card already, but damn cool one to check out. Really impressed with the overall build quality of that one. What else we got to talk about? I think I'm gonna cut it somewhat. This is what, 22 minutes? I guess I'm gonna say somewhat short, but it's not really short, is it? We're gonna call it this week. I got plenty of other little stuff in the mix that I'm hopefully gonna get done this afternoon, depending on what happens. I think Hot Rod and I worked out that I'm gonna get Sundays off now, so hopefully, she doesn't need my help and I have to go in and meet her somewhere else. But there's always that possibility, I guess. Like, there's certain things that she just needs help for. So hopefully Sundays will be off for me for a little while. I got some stuff to mech around in the shop with, so we'll see what we come up with for next week. But I'm gonna call it for this week. Hope you'll have a great week, and we'll check you next week. Later, y'all.